Hey everyone, DarkDragoon here with Season 2, Episode 25 of my FTB Modpack Let's Play. So today we're going to get started pretty much where I said we were going to, making our recyclers here run a little bit faster. Mostly because I think our quarry might have gotten pretty close to reaching the bottom, and so it might be about time to move it and make it bigger and probably make it faster. So to do that, we're definitely going to need to make sure that we're ready for it. So we're going to make a bunch of these overclocker upgrades. You can see the recipe here. This is the base recipe, and of course GregTech will expand on that and let us make multiple overclocker upgrades for our resources. But right now we're just going to be using the standard one because we don't really have a way to get these 60k helium coolant cells. So there you go. We're going to make 4 of these overclockers per recycler, which means we're going to need 12 total. So I'm just getting, I made 2 extra electronic circuits, but that's okay. I think that'll might be a little bit of a problem. We'll just make some more cables. There we go. So we also need a bunch of these water cells, but that's okay because you can see the 10k coolant cells require just water cells surrounded by tin. And since we need 12 of these, we're going to need 36 total of these coolant cells. So very, very expensive, but it's ultimately going to be worth it, I think. We're going to need some more tin. So downside to these is they do not stack. So we're going to have to make a bunch and then adjust. So let's go ahead and start throwing some of these things together here. And like I said, none of these stack, so there you go, overclocker. So I'll just make a couple of these on camera. See the simple process, but the downside is these coolant cells don't stack. So let me go ahead and finish these up off camera. Okay, last one. There we go, 12 overclockers. And I believe it's because of GregTech these don't stack higher than 4, but that is okay because that is what we're making. So pretty simply, we can just slap these upgrades right over here. There's actually quite a few different kinds of upgrades that you can make for machines, like for industrial craft. Let's see here. There's the overclocker, which will speed up the rate of the machine. There's the transformer upgrade, which for example, if we had thrown a transformer upgrade into each of these, we wouldn't have needed the LV transformer down below. And the energy storage upgrade, which basically will let it store more power in its buffer. So pretty cool. But like I said, we're just going to put in overclockers, basically to make them run a bit faster. And just to show you guys how much faster these things are now running, look at that. Much more quickly than they were before. So I'm not actually sure if 4 is ultimately going to be enough. We might need more later on, but for now I think this will do. And we're getting quite a bit of scrap for our trouble. Cool. So that done, I think, like I said, it is probably about time to check our quarry, maybe move it, and if it is, I'll probably maybe show you guys briefly the move, but I'm probably going to do most of that off camera since you guys have already seen me put a quarry together. So after that's done, we're going to look into some forestry stuff and hopefully move into that. So I'll be back in a minute. Alright, so as you guys can see, I've already cleared out an area and got our quarry going again. And it didn't actually take too much. I also made a couple more of these biogas engines, so we're up to 7 total. No big deal. Pretty much just set up the same system we had again, but moved it down 1 and made it really big. And you might be asking yourself, Dragoon, why so big? Well, my only answer to that is, why not? Simple as that. So there you go. So this thing's basically going to take a while to get itself set up and running, but yeah, we're pretty much just going to leave it to do that. And go back to the overworld and continue on our merry way. So I'll meet you guys back there. Alright, so we are over here at our carpenter and our thermionic fabricator. And the reason for this is, as promised, we are going to be moving on to some new forestry items. And I'm trying to remember how these are made. We're going to need a bit of glass, because we're going to make ourselves a bunch of these tin electron tubes. Have to remember where we put our glass. There's some. You can see I moved our roller out of here. That has been moved over into our side of the factory with all of our railcraft stuff. So that done, let's just flip the switch and get the power flowing. It should start heating up in just a second. Or maybe not. Let's see what's going on here. We might have missed a connection. Let's see what's going on. Alright, apparently we're going to have to dig our way down and figure out what is exactly going on. Oh, you know what I bet it is? No, power is flowing the right way. Oh, looks like we hit this pipe at some point while we were working under here. There we go. We should just be able to fix this up real quick. How was this set up? I'm actually not sure why this zicordite plate is here. This should start heating up now. If we flip the switch. There it goes. Cool. Let me go get some more of these bricks just to cover up down there. That should do the trick. And by the time we're done, the glass should be heated back up. Excellent. There we go. We have liquid glass. So we're going to need quite a few of these because we're going to be making a brand new item from Forestry. So we're going to need a lot more melted glass than that, in fact. Let's see. Probably not going to have quite enough. Alright, let me get a bit more tin and I'll be back. Alright, I'm back and I'm hoping I've got enough tin now to finish up what we were working on. We still need quite a bit, but hopefully we've got enough. So we need, I believe, 16 more. Yeah, I think that'll do. So we can go ahead and pull the tin and the redstone out of here. I'll go ahead and just leave the redstone in there. Pull our tin out and our glass. Yeah, that's fine. Flip our switch. So you might be wondering, okay, what is he making with that many tin electron tubes? Well, I'm going to be making something brand new. Something that's just been released in the most recent version of Forestry. And yeah, I think that's good. I'm pretty sure I have everything that I need to craft it up, so let's go ahead and craft it up, shall we? So it's going to take quite a bit of oak slabs. Something like that. All of our electron tubes. Some kind of brick. There's a couple different kinds of blocks that you can use here. In fact, I'll go ahead and show you guys. Let's see. I'm trying to remember. Here we go. You might be familiar with Forestry's farm machines. Like our peat bog, they pretty much used to work all like this. Well, now there are also multi-block farms that can be made with stone bricks or mossy stone or cracked stone bricks, smooth sandstone or chiseled sandstone, or even nether bricks. You guys can see there's a bunch of different ways and different types of block that you can use to make these, and it's really up to you. There's really no difference between all these. It's more a cosmetic thing. So to make our basic farm blocks is like so, and we're gonna need a lot of them. They can be made in lots of different sizes. I'm gonna be making 3 by 4, I think is the size I'm gonna go for. 3 by 3 by 4, basically a very similar to the size of our blast furnace over there. They can also be made bigger than that in different configurations, and obviously the bigger your farm blocks are, the bigger your actual farm will be. So there's a couple different blocks that we're going to need in addition to this. Now we could just go set this up and we'd be fine, but I'm going to make all of these, I'm going to make one of each of these specialized blocks as well. And I can probably upgrade this to make more of these later, but for now I'm just going to make one of each. So the first thing we're going to need a bit of gears. I believe 5 should do the trick. We've made these plenty of times before. This is why I needed a bit of tin left over. So tin gears, 5 of those. And let's see here, we've also got our glass, and we're going to need to make ourselves a trapdoor. I know, seems weird, but trust me. So let's get to putting these things together. Now the cool thing about these is that these recipes for our gearboxes and hatches and valves actually use the very blocks that we just made. So we're going to be able to use these to get this done. So the first thing we're going to make is called a farm valve, and it's pretty cool. It's made like so. There we go, farm valve. This is pretty much how we're going to tell our farm to keep itself hydrated, filled with water. And we're also going to need some way of getting power into this thing, and that is made like so. Farm gearbox. And finally, we can also make a block that will let us interact with the inventory of the farm itself. So that's going to be made like so. And actually we need one more gear. I miscounted, sorry. Just get this thrown together real quick. There we go. Tin gear. So one there, our trapdoor, and one of our farm blocks will give us a farm hatch. So like I said, our farm gearbox, that will interact with, basically it'll let us power the farm valve will let us keep water in it, and the farm hatch will let us interact with the inventory. So let me sleep through the night real quick, and then we'll go find a nice spot to get this thing built. Alright, so I'm back, and you can see I've cleared myself out a little bit of an area over here. I think we're going to set up our first farm right here. I definitely want it to be kind of close to this because it's going to need to be able to get this fertilizer somehow, and I have a couple different ideas of how I want to go about that, but that'll come later. So first things first, basically we're just going to set this thing up, and I'm going to actually initially just sort of put it down, and then we can adjust some things, mostly so I can sort of show you guys exactly how this thing works before we sort of get it going. And of course, right when I'm back, it's night, so let me sleep. Okay, so we're going to be making the smallest type of farm. Like I said, there's a lot of different sizes you can make. We're going to do the 3x3x4. Let's see, you can also do 3x4x4, 4x4x4, 3x5x4, and I believe 5x5x4. So lots of different sizes. Obviously, the bigger your farm block in the center is, the bigger area you need to be able to have for your farm. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it's something like here. Should do the trick. And I'm just going to sort of outline our area here, and then we're going to figure out where we want to put our specialized blocks. Now, the thing with these farm blocks is, unlike some of the other multi-block structures, they do not need any blank spaces anywhere inside them. They just need to be solid bricks of farm. So yeah. So we definitely need to figure out now, because I made just enough of these for the whole structure, so we need to figure out where we're going to have our power coming in and where we're going to have everything working. So I'm thinking, let's see, I'm thinking we're probably going to want to at least interact with, like I said, I have an idea for some of this, and it'll probably require another farm hatch eventually, but we're going to put our first farm hatch up on top. And then we're going to put our gearbox and our valve, I think, somewhere along the bottom, maybe like here. We'll put our gearbox, and we'll put our valve on the opposite side. A little bit of symmetry for us. There we go. And now we can just fill in the last 3 of these spots. There we go. And within about a second, it should update. Come on. There it goes. Cool. You can see it updated. Now it is a multi-block structure. Awesome. So the next stage of this is that we're going to want to basically set it up so it builds the farm out. I like to have it sort of on the level of the ground. So the next thing we really need to do is we need to basically build a sort of base for it to build its, probably going to need more stone bricks than that, a base for it to build its farm from. And I think it's going to be, because like I said, we want the farm to actually come up to this level, so why don't we build the base like here. And I'm probably going to want to dig down, I'm definitely going to want to dig down further than we have so far, but basically what we're going to need to do is, like I said, build this platform and have it sort of attached to the farm. Now, as it stands right now, we could technically get this thing going, but I'm actually going to build this area out first. I think this is how we want to do it. Yes. The cool thing about these multi-farms is that they can actually, pretty much just like the name sounds, they can actually farm lots of different types of stuff at the same time if you want it. You can pretty much set them however you want. This one, I think, for the most part, is going to is going to be supplying us with some wheat, but who knows? We might also have some other stuff growing in here. I haven't decided 100% what we're going to grow. Just that we are going to grow stuff. So these farms are not actually square. They do sort of set themselves up in sort of a circular pattern. So you could just stop and only put bricks where you absolutely need them, but I'm just going to basically go ahead and do this whole thing since it's going to be sort of a multi-purpose sort of structure. We're going to have room below to basically work and room above to actually do all the growing for us. Cool. Okay, so that part done. Let me go off camera for a little bit. I'll dig out a little more area below. I'll probably pull out my filler again and clear out a little bit bigger of an area below this structure, and then I'll be back. Alright, so we've got our farm down and I cleared out the area underneath it, so now it's time to get into sort of the next phase of how this whole thing works. And to do that, we're first going to need a bit of bronze. Okay, and we're going to pop into our carpenter and we're going to take one of our bronze with, there we go, with some iron to make a soldering iron. And we'll just flip our switch to let power flow, and this should get going. Oh, right. Derp. There we go. Now it can go. Just takes a second. Come on. There we go. Soldering iron. And we're going to make one more thing in here. And we're going to take some gold with some redstone to make an intricate circuit board, I believe is what this is called. And this will just take another minute. Come on. It's a little slow, but it's not too bad. There we go. Intricate circuit board. Cool. So that done, we're going to need to decide on what kind of farms we want to do. I definitely know we want to do some wheat. Probably a good portion of the farm will be wheat. And let's see. Let's also set up one side to do an infernal farm. So that way we can actually, because we're already doing it sort of manually. So what we're gonna need is we're gonna need a couple things. So I'm gonna need. Let's see if this. Actually, I'm trying to remember the recipe for this just off the top of my head, so you'll have to bear with me just a little bit. We're also gonna need a bit more bronze. So we're gonna need a bit more copper. So let's just go ahead and make that real quick. Gonna definitely need more than that. There we go. I think that'll be enough. Like I said, I'm not actually sure. This recipe I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, and I'm not sure if it requires raw blaze rods or just blaze powder. So we're gonna find out real quick. So we're gonna make some more of these electron tubes that we've made before. Something like that? No. Alright, well, I know for a fact. Oh, we need some liquid glass in there. We're going to need some bronze electron tubes, and one batch of them should be plenty. Let's double check this again. Again, I'm not sure if it's. Okay, it must be blaze powder. So let's just grind up some of this. Let me grind up some of this off camera, and then I'll be back. Okay, I've confirmed it is in fact blaze powder to make some of these blazing electron tubes. Cool. Just going to need one stack of those. And we should be good here, so we can switch this off. Now, this was actually the main reason why we needed the soldering iron, because basically what we need to do is you can right-click while holding it, and it will open up this little GUI for you, and it'll tell you that there's a circuit board missing. Basically what we can do is we can flip through these various things, and we can put electron tubes in these slots to find out what effects these electron tubes will grant to a circuit board depending on what you put it in. Now we're going to be starting off making managed farms. The main difference between these managed and manual farms is that the managed farms will automatically put the dirt down for you, whereas the manual farms will have you put the dirt and the whatever the stuff it needs to grow out of down by yourself. Both farms will automatically plant seeds and harvest those materials. And the manual farms can do a bit more than the managed farms, but since we're starting with some pretty simple things, it's not going to be too bad. Now, basically you're going to need, if you remember, the farm has 4 separate little sides to it. So in order to set up the circuit board properly, it needs to have some kind of electron tube in each 4 of these slots. Otherwise, it's not going to know what to do with a particular side. So we're going to have 3 sides with crop farms, and you can see when we put the tubes in, it tells us, okay, these are crop farms. And then in the last slot, we're going to put one of our blazing electron tubes to tell it that side will be for our infernal farm. So now that we've got all the tubes in here, it's still not going to do anything, nor will it use the tubes until we take our circuit board and stick it right there. As soon as we put it in, it jumps down, and you can see it is set up to be used for a farm. Cool. So let's go ahead and run over to our farm. And actually, let's bring along a little bit of dirt. And I'm not sure if we have any. Let's bring along 2 stacks of dirt. Should probably do the trick. And I'm not actually sure if we have much soul sand lying around. Only 14. But we can always dig up our little manual nether wart farm over there. So basically, you guys can see, we can. This looks complicated, but it's actually not too bad. Basically, we have our side over here, which is our liquid tank. It stores water. This is where fertilizer will go. This is pretty much what the farm is going to burn in order to run. It will also need some kind of power. We'll probably use peat-fired engines since we have a good amount of peat. And then basically up here is where we're going to put our dirt, our seeds go here, and then all of our output items will go here. You can sort of tell from the way the arrows sort of are moving that it sort of explains how this works, well, eventually. So we're going to take our intricate circuit board and we're going to slap it down right here. As you guys can see, default for all farms is set to basically do an arboretum. So if we were just to hook this up and get it running and supply it with trees and dirt, it would grow trees for us. But we don't want it to do that because we already have that in Railcraft. So we're going to stick it right there. And the second we do, you can see the slots change to show us that it's going to be producing wheat on 3 sides and nether wart on a 3rd. So basically what we're going to do, obviously this doesn't have any power yet, so it's not going to run until we give it some power, but I definitely want to go ahead and give it its supply of materials here. And of course, just when we get out here, once again, it's turning night. This always seems to happen. Let me go ahead and sleep through that, and then actually, I'll make myself a peat-fired engine, and I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. You can see I've got myself a peat-fired engine here, and we'll just slap that down manually for now, and throw some peat in, and just give it a little bit of a redstone signal to get it started. There we go. And you can see we definitely want to hook up the engine right up to the gearbox. And just to point of clarity, you guys should be able to tell that these bricks here on the bottom are just normal stone bricks. They're not part of the farm, so it's okay that I broke it. The engine doesn't actually want to be inside the farm, it just wants to be attached to that gearbox. So that done, in just a few minutes here, this thing should start going. Once it's got some fertilizer, I'm going to grab some of that as well. Let's do that real quick. Now to actually grow things, it will definitely need some water, and we'll need to automatically set up a way for it to get that. But for now, we should be okay. So I just want to sort of get this thing started working, and then we can worry about sort of all the tiny details later. So there we go. Fertilizer goes in. And it starts running. You can see the fertilizer is burning, and this should start planting its material down. Like I said, you can see it actually lays down its material in sort of a circular pattern eventually. I'm going to run over here and break down our nether wart stuff that we had set up over here, because we don't need it over here anymore. I tell you what, these multi-block farms are really cool. I gotta give Sengir a shout out for that, because that's just a cool idea. And of course, because it's been night so much and I've been not really paying much attention to this thing. There we go. I know I should have put a coal engine on it, but it's not too big a deal. I don't have to babysit it too much. I just have to kind of wander over there every now and then, so I don't mind that. I don't mind having to pay a little bit of attention to my machines from now on, from time to time. So there you go. You guys can see it's running pretty good to start with. We can go ahead technically and throw some seeds and our nether wart in here, and it should also automatically start planting that. It possibly even will start planting the nether wart immediately. There it goes. You can see it planted it, and it'll wait until it's at full height before it harvests it. Now, why are you not planting soul sand faster? Let me go ahead and clip the video here, and I'll let a little bit more of this grow in, and then I'll be back. Alright, so this thing is taking a little bit of time to get going, but you can see it's built out a little bit of an area. Helped it out a little bit manually, just filling in some dirt and going ahead and hoeing the spots. If you just wait long enough, it would have done it by itself, but you can definitely see it's also going ahead and planting all our seeds. So I'm hoping that our water is set up properly so that it's going to hydrate every single spot on the farm. It should, considering the fact that water spots are supposed to hydrate up to 3 out, if I recall. So yeah, so this thing should be working, and it should be processing all its material. You can see I went ahead and pulled the dirt out. I'm actually going to just put some more in there, because just in case, I want to be sure that if it needs more dirt, it'll have it. And yeah, so there it goes. Cool little system. Now, Unfortunately, I think we're probably close to the point where we need to call this episode, but I'll go ahead and show you guys. Down here, I went ahead and put in an aqueous accumulator. You guys have seen me make those quite a few times. You can see it's running at full capacity and supplying our farm with water. This is pretty important as it didn't even start putting our dirt down for our wheat farms until we gave it water. Now, the other interesting thing about the way that the farms work is, depending on what biome you're in, we'll have different sorts of humidity, and this will also count in the amount of rainfall it usually gets. So, obviously, if we try to plant this farm in a desert, it would require much more hydration to run. So, keep that in mind. Here in the plains, we're pretty much good. Pretty much good to go. So, you can definitely see our peat-fired engine is working here. We can, I definitely want to automate getting peat into this thing, and pulling out things like the wheat that it's growing. I have a couple ideas on how I want to go about that, but I haven't yet really decided on that yet. So that's probably what we're going to get to work on next episode, is pretty much finishing setting up this farm and getting it sort of at least close to fully automated, and it might even involve turtles. I'm not sure. We'll see. So until then, I think, like I said, I think this is about where we need to call this episode. So, and as the moon is coming up, that seems appropriate. So, this has been Season 2, Episode 25 of DarkDragoon's Feed the Beast Modpack Let's Play. Hope you guys enjoyed seeing some new stuff, and hopefully we'll stay tuned for some more new stuff. So, until then, catch you guys later.